Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Amy, God bless you for your leadership, for your magnificent service in the United States Senate, and for your runaway prospects for re-election in this upcoming election. We're proud to have you as our senator. We're inspired by your leadership, and we look forward to a lot more of it. And thank you for your kind remarks tonight. And Al Franken, I was going to talk about myself, but this is neither the time or place. I thank you for your reading skills, which were in doubt until tonight. When Humphrey and I ran for the Senate as a team representing Minnesota, our motto was, Minnesota deserves two strong United States senators. And that's what we have today, that same idea, two powerful senators working for Minnesota and building the country. And we're proud of both of you, and we look forward to supporting you in future elections. And Mark Dayton, how fortunate we are to have him as governor of Minnesota. I knew it was an important election, but I didn't realize how much was riding on his election. But he was elected, and he's been an absolutely courageous, magnificent governor. Listen to him tonight. Let's give him our support wherever we can. I know we have members of the Congress and others here tonight. Thank you all for being here, and for my fellow Democrats who gather here in record numbers tonight. I'm very, very impressed. As you know, Joan and I have attended more DFL dinners than any other two living Americans. Started early when Humphrey was just learning how to give a speech, and we used to have these long dinners that would go Saturday evening, and everybody would get to speak. And as Warren Spanis remembers, just when we were about done, the wrap-up speaker was always Hubert Humphrey. And the gag that would go around the hall on each of these nights was, what comes after Hubert? And the answer was Sunday morning. So I'm going to try to do my part to see that that answer isn't Sunday morning at this program. I was inspired again by Bill Clinton. He's a superb public leader. Here he is after 8 successful years as president, with us tonight. He could have stayed home, but he was there because he loved Hubert, and he helped at those ceremonies on the state capitol day. You've got to go over and look at Hubert's statue. It's just a great historic contribution to our state and its history, and he was fantastic there. He got right into the issues. We had a big crowd. They loved him, and he came over here and did the same thing. He went right at those issues and stayed at the center of that question all through the evening, and he's somewhere else giving another speech yet tonight. What a great, profound American Bill Clinton is. Let's give him a big hand. I was, of course, blessed to grow up in politics in Minnesota when Humphrey was young and in his prime. And then to spend all those years side by side with him when he was mayor of Minneapolis, for the years when he was the senator, the majority leader of the Senate, and then working on his vice presidential campaign, and then watching Hubert go into the White House, and then supporting him in his own race for president. And then the way the circumstances worked out, Hubert and I ended up serving in the United States Senate from Minnesota as colleagues from our wonderful state. And I really got to know Hubert over those many, many years, almost better than anybody except, of course, his own family. Hubert deserves every one of these honors. And it's not just about honoring him, it's about remembering what he meant to our history, what he meant to the great issues that bear upon America's future, the things that Bill Clinton talked about tonight. Humphrey was, I think without doubt, the single most influential and successful elected public leader in Minnesota's history, and one of a handful of the best in American history. And it wasn't just political skills, although he had those. It wasn't speaking skills, although he had those. It was because in his heart was a commitment to help people, to pull us together, to create that more perfect union that Bill Clinton talked about. And that's what he did. All those civil rights acts broke a logjam of over 200 years in America, where we couldn't bring ourselves to say that Americans, regardless of color, should be treated without discrimination. Thanks to Hubert and his unique leadership and his genius and his ability to pull people together, those acts were passed, and America and Minnesota has been a big, different and better state ever since. And anytime you want to break in with applause, feel free to do so. I was in the Senate presiding when Humphrey came back to the Senate after being told he was suffering from incurable cancer. He walked on that floor. There weren't many senators there. The word got out immediately, and within 10 or 15 minutes, there were over 90 senators on that Senate floor who had come there to tell Hubert personally how much they admired him and how much they loved him. And one after another stood up and said in their own words what Hubert had meant to them, Republicans as well as Democrats. I saw Barry Goldwater run across the Senate floor in tears to embrace Hubert and tell him how much he loved him. This was an unprecedented expression of support, of admiration, of unique stature that Humphrey had in the hearts of all Americans. I spoke at Humphrey's memorial service in the Capitol, where the turnout of presidents, former presidents, leaders from all over the world matched that of any great president. And I use these words from Shakespeare to describe what I thought Hubert was all about. Shakespeare wrote that a good leg will fail, a straight back will stoop, a black beard will turn white, a curled pate will grow bald, a fair face will wither, a full eye will wax hollow. But a good heart is like the sun and the moon, or rather the sun and not the moon, for it shines bright and keeps its course truly. That was our Hubert Humphrey. Thank you. Thank you.